faith, and life. Here is the Brother Leon Show. You better recognize.
What's going on, listeners? This is your boy, Brother Leon, and so I hope you guys have enjoyed Fit Pastor K's Part 1 interview because, guys, we are definitely going to be going back. But with this interview that we have today, we are going to have transformation specialist Toni. And so her thing, what she does in the community is that she helps men who have been incarcerated. Soon as they get out, she helps them and coaches them on how to get their life back and also how to not return to jail. So, that is so important because there is an attack on our men today because our men represent generation. They represent the family tree. They represent the family structure because the one thing that you get with men is that you get seed. With the seed, there is the tree. And so if the enemy can take the man out of the equation, the woman can't birth the generation. Because when men and women get together, generations are birthed. And there is an attack against our men, especially our men of color, our young men. That whole, school to pipeline prison thing is real. And so we have got to do something about the way that our communities are in. We have to empower our communities. We have to engage and empower this generation. We also have to bring our fathers back into the homes. And so I appreciate the work that specialist Toni is doing because she is helping our men. She is helping our community. And so, guys, you are going to hear from her today because, God gave her this business for a reason. She is a deliverer. She is a coach. She inspires people. And she's also challenging. She will challenge you to have a better life. She will challenge you to make better decisions. And so, you're going to hear from a phenomenal woman in God who has a transformation coaching business. So with that being said, we're going to call her right now. So guys, get ready because you're going to get some wisdom today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing? Transformation specialist Toni. This is Brother Leon. I just want to say thank you. We just did the introduction, and I just want to say it is an honor to have you on the show because I was just telling the listeners about, the work that you do and how it's so important that we bring healing, to our men and how we need to bring our men back into the house. And this whole, school to prison pipeline thing is no joke. It's not a hoax. So I so appreciate, the work that you are doing in the community. So with that being said, I just want to ask you, who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me today. And I am a transformational specialist, and they call me Coach Toni. I am invested in my people. Mm-hmm. I have a niche, which is Black and brown men.
Okay.
I feel very passionate about who they are and their ability to gain financial opportunities is very important to me. And it's based on careers, not just a job, which means just over broke.
Okay.
So I am a stand for the men in my community.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What did you see in the community that sparked you to start this coaching business? What did you see?
Well, to be honest with you, I've only had my non-for-profit organization for 1 year now. And it started many years ago. It started 33 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My father was in prison for 17 years. And when he came home with a little suitcase to my front door.
Mm-hmm.
I was now 21 years old and trying to figure out, I had a son. I was trying to have a brand new son, and I was trying to figure out what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And so in watching him go through the process of finding out who he was,
mm-hmm.
I realized that this thing is bigger than just giving somebody a mop or a job or a car wash. Because,
Yes.
to me, that whole process starts the same way it did when people say they don't have any clothes or any food, you get canned goods, and they're like, well, where am I going to feed it at?
Mm-hmm.
Giving them clothes, you give them old clothes you don't want, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That mindset is horrible, and it leaves no dignity to the person while you're trying to heal them. So I started looking at the lack of compassion for our men who were coming home. And as I took my father around to get a job, that was just one aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is no one even notices that when they come home, they pretty much want to eat in a room by themselves, or they want to do things. Isolation, that whole process of being inside a prison doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to change just because you opened the door. So we've got to take the bars off the mind and move them forward. And they definitely need to transform behaviors, attitudes, and mindset.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So let me ask you this. A lot of times you see that, the whole transition process, and it's crazy because you get no help. You don't get a lot of help, or the help that you really need, because there's so many stipulations. It's like, you can't get particular job trainings because, you were incarcerated or you have a record now. So how is it that you help men get past that frustration? Because it can be frustrating, you knocking on doors, you putting in applications, and you just hear no all the time.
Well, that's only part of the issue. Mm-hmm. Because what I found out is that some of the pressure comes from the families. Because after you get home for 2 weeks, you weren't in college.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't away in the war.
Yeah.
You were in prison.
Yeah.
So they're cool with you for 2 weeks because they missed you. After 2 weeks, it's like, when are you going to get a job, Johnny?
Yeah, exactly.
What the heck is this?
Mm-hmm.
I put in the applications I can't get. What do you mean you can't? McDonald's is hiring. Oh, now you're starting to dig.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're dealing with the psyche, the whole psychosocial behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with all of that. And that's why I said it's not just a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started dealing with that aspect because I realized if they get a job and they get fired, first of all, the anxiety of even putting in an application, having to mark the box.
Yeah. In
some states, you don't have to mark the box anymore. I think Delaware, you don't have to anymore. I know Jersey and New York, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to put in that you're in prison. So, but eventually they find out if they want to get rid of you, they can. So what I said was, this is a really 1,000-piece puzzle. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw the puzzle out, and I'm going to create a blueprint. And one of the blueprints is we're taking care of that 9 months before you get out.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on all the paperwork. Because some of that frustration is not having your birth certificate, not having your license. You got child support hanging on your neck. You've got all kinds of things. I had one of my kings come out, and as a matter of fact, the organization is called Reentry Kingmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find us at reentrykingmaker.com.
Okay.
So one of the kings come home. He has arrears of $63,000. He was in there for about 19 years. Okay, how are you going to get that? Why is that now on your plate? So he had to go to court to deal with that. So we helped him deal with that because there's no way he's going back because you knew where he was. So now we're taking care of that while they're inside. Do you have any children? So you have to ask the right questions and make sure all the paperwork is done before he walks out the door. Bam, bam, bam. All your tickets are paid. Start paying your tickets while you're in there. Instead of having your family call you every 15 minutes, why don't you take that money and pay off? So when I get out, I can have a driver's license. Stuff like that. So here's the thing. What I found is that we have a lot of black business owners entrepreneurs all around. You know, we're an amazing people all by ourselves, and Hispanics, and Latino community. So if you have your own career, if you have your own job, your own career, your own business, your own whatever it is that you're working with, I need you to do me this favor. And so they begin to hire. So that's for a job. But these men either have to go back to school or they have to do the trade. And we're starting we have 4 now signed up for enrolled in the elevator training because we want you to get a career. We've got 2 guys who have their master barber's license and 3 guys who are doing the personal trainer. You were in there, you were inside doing this stuff. Let this stuff count for you, get paid. Yes. And so that's what's happening. We're putting them in school, making them legitimate. So when you come out, you can create how much money you want to make. You don't want to go to work today? Then don't go to work. You need your license because you might be able to do Uber or Lyft.
Yes.
So you're going to make money. You're going to get your OSHA 30. Start there. So you can work on any construction site, and then you start with that.
Yeah.
How about electricians? You can, listen, if you have one person who has their license, they put anybody they want under their license if they're training them. And we're doing this whole training program for elevator training, and they have to come in twice a week for practical.
Okay.
So listen, and it's costing our company $2,000 a man. But you know what? We're raising the money.
Okay.
We're doing that. That's what we're doing. So I'm into, let's start at the beginning. Let's get them a job. Just over broke. Yeah. And they can make a couple of bucks. I have a couple of friends who own construction companies. They're black. They'll hire you for it. And my one friend, she's a female, and she's paying $30 an hour.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I know it's good.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
Okay? So all I'm saying is if they don't have, and we give them a coach when they come home because your family won't know what you've been through. They don't know the nightmare, but we give them a man who's been there and done that and has come out and created a life for himself so that you can look at him and say, but you don't understand. No. You know, young blood, I understand. Yeah. See, and we give them a coach to walk them through the transformation until they work it out. And we prepare the wives, the girlfriends, and the mothers for their return. So you don't tell Johnny what he shouldn't be feeling. And we have to go we have to peel the onion all the way back because they had an issue before they went inside. They were in prison before they went into the prison. Wow.
Can you unpack that? Why. Can you unpack that conversation, about, with the family, with the wives, with the baby's moms, with the girlfriends? How do you have that conversation?
Well, you have to be, first of all, when you have conversations like that, you have to have the time and you have to be present with the person. You never talk at the person. You have to be present with them. And they want to unpack it. But you have to guide the unpacking. Okay. Because they will unpack what everyone else has done and never what they've done. So what we do is look at how did you view it? How do you view the mother sleeping around? How do you view the father not being around? That's not really the biggest problem. It's the mother. I did some data research on that. Men who are inside are either two things. It's either are the firstborn son, or their mother was not strong enough or too strong and wouldn't let him be a man. Took his balls and just packed it away. Wow. You got one or the other. When you start to unpack that with these men, they'll tell you, when mother's with the boyfriend and you're a young boy, you cannot tell her who she can go out with. You're a kid. When you get older, you're angry with her. Or if she stays a long time and she's unhappy, so she makes everyone else unhappy, but she thinks she's staying for you. So you're mad at her because she should have left. All these are stories that I have unpacked it, where you have to take care of the children because the mother's out making money. What are you doing? whatever she's doing, she's not home.
Yeah.
You have to wear hand-me-down clothes, and you can't explain that to your friends because kids are cruel.
Yeah.
So you're going to sell some drugs to get some money because you don't want to look like that. You don't want to be the butt of anybody's joke. You can't even get a haircut. That's why some of my guys, I am making them go to organizations and be a contractor to do at least 6 haircuts a week to your community. So these kids, you can take off some of the pressure of these kids of not having enough money to even get a haircut. Or their mom wants to get some clippers and just jack up their hair, and they got to explain that. Little things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you hear these boys going through this, they grow up to be men, and they covered it. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep on explaining, because I mean, you're just unpacking it, and I love the fact that you're being transparent on how it happens. Especially that whole thing about being the firstborn, the firstborn son. That right there, because it's a lot of firstborn sons. They had to be almost like the surrogate husband to a certain degree.
That's exactly what they were.
Yeah.
They were the husbands without the penis.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who they were. And they were expected to do things and being punished for what the husband or father or man didn't do. And it is psychological. That's the psychological part. You have a child with a mind that is very pure. And whatever you tell them, they're going to believe it at a certain age.
Yeah.
And I have one who has one son. She got married after about 10 years. She got married and had 2 sons, and they went to the best schools. They had all the things that you could ask for, vacation. She was married.
Yeah.
But when she was single and she had her son, she didn't give him the same attention. Well, he's a grown man. I'm 32. And I was just coaching him last week, 32. And he just has a chip on his shoulder because these boys had everything.
Yeah.
And he's at a disadvantage, he thinks, but he's using the fact that his mother didn't spend as much time and do as much for him, put him in private school, boarding school, and vacations, and he's limiting his life as a result of that conversation. These are conversations playing in your head. These are conversations that you think. I worked with boys 10, 12, and 13, and 14 at Skillman's Boys Home in Skillman, New Jersey, maybe 30 years ago. And I did it for 6 years. And these were boys who killed.
Wow.
They killed their parent, their mother's boyfriend. They killed. And some of them were in the wrong place at the wrong time trying to belong. But their attitude was that they got tired of something happening that they had no control. And they actually killed. And when you look at them, they look like they just didn't have enough of love, enough of attention, And I coach people from different groups, Bloods, Crips. I infiltrate. They hire me to work with them.
Okay.
On different levels. And what I find is everybody has a heart. And everyone has a question.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to be understood.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. It's like, I think the thing that I've heard with some of our youth is they feel as though nobody hears them. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, nobody's listening.
Yeah.
It's a blame game. It's this one's fault. It's that one's fault.
Yeah.
And one of my guys said to me, Coach, he said, my mother I had a good mother. She wasn't out there doing anything, but she was working all the time. And he had to, he was a latchkey kid at the time.
Yeah.
He had to come home from school by himself. And he just wanted to belong. See, a sense of belonging is another reason to get involved in areas that you shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
That will take you out into the sea.
Yeah.
Just drift you out there. So there are many things. Each person has their own story. That's why I encourage my guys to write the book.
Mm-hmm.
Put your story in a book and let other people read it.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about that right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving on to what you're going to do next. It's like next.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Wow.
So we keep it moving. We really keep it moving. And they get to talk. They have access to their coach 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep it moving because life is doing just that. It's not waiting for you.
Yeah.
We had to teach our men how to swipe Metro cards.
Okay.
How to use, we did classes on how to use your cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so the biggest thing is that, can they trust you? So the trust is built up over a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely meet someone for the first time and then take them all the way to the end. They have to trust me that what I'm saying to them, the bigger picture will get them into a different ground. So I take away things like, I have all their rap sheets, right?
Yeah.
But I don't really pull them because I don't want to know what you were in there for. I don't want to know that. When I want you, when you're coming for a job interview, I make sure that the certain stipulations are there so that you'll be able to get into that position. So you're going for an interview, but it's not about what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what do you want to do? Do you see yourself here? Do you see yourself adding to this? Do you see yourself learning? It has nothing to do with what you've done. And I also train the entrepreneur, the business owner, how to handle my men.
Okay.
Don't mishandle my men. Don't mishandle my men or you will see my wrath. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You won't mishandle them.
Yeah.
I tell them, you call me. You have a problem with Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so? Give me a call.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I take care of that because you're not going to mishandle them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want them to get involved in any disciplinary anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you just do what you do, but there are people I know, I'll handle them. But I train them before those men come.
Okay.
So they know how to handle. You don't ask them anything about their past. Let's just stay work related. You want to know anything, you ask me. If I think you need to know, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want you to approach my men if they don't do the job. Tell them they didn't do it right, and then show them how to do it right. Train them, but don't yell at them, and don't act like you're doing them a favor because we'll get them another job. Because if that's the case, that's abuse, and I'll report you. How about that?
Yeah. Thank you for that because
so I fight for my God. I fight for my kings. I do.
That's
so
great.
So you getting passionate right now. I'm like, look. I'm already feeling it. I'm like, don't mess with them.
Yeah.
Just don't mess with them.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: do you have to deal with parole officers?
Well, I try to meet the parole officer. I want to make contact with the parole officers. Absolutely, because I need them to know I'm going to take responsibility for how they're acting right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you I realize that they have a load.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a sworn-in parole officer responsibility in my town in Somerset, New Jersey, because it had such a big group of people to deal with each one. And so what I did was they asked me would I be sworn in for that, and they will do that. They swear you in if you want to be, but you have to meet them in public places and all this kind of stuff. I didn't have to go to their house; they had to come to me. And so they had designated places for them to meet me. And if they didn't show up, then they would, have to be reported. But what I found is that when I establish a relationship with a parole officer, and I'm telling them, look, you got to be in by such and such time. If you're not going to be in there such and such time, you need to call me.
Yeah.
You need to let me know. Why? Because I don't want anybody calling me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not coming to get you out. I'm not doing that. But I need to know the trail before you get into trouble. And if you feel like you're going to get into trouble, you better tell me the truth first.
Yeah.
If you don't tell me the truth first, then I'm done.
Okay.
The court's cut. Don't call me. Yeah. We've got judges. We've got attorneys, and we have the drug court. We have relationships with all these people. Why? because these are one of our guys.
Yeah.
And there's somebody standing for this. We have pastors. You know why? And I'm also a part of a mosque. Why? Because we have a lot of men inside prison who say they're Muslims. Oh, so you want to give me that story?
Yeah.
And you don't even follow that?
Yeah.
I got a couple of imams who I'm close to. I go to the mosque. Before the COVID, I was going to the mosque once a week. Why? Because I needed to be in that community in order to refer these men to this particular mosque. Why? Because you're not going to give me no excuses.
Yeah.
Not if I'm fighting for you.
Okay.
You're going to stand for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. It sounds like you're willing to help and fight, but you have to you're telling these guys you got to take responsibility and you have to be accountable.
Absolutely, no doubt. You have to take accountability because it's the excuses that led you where you are right now. It didn't. How's it working for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Did it work for you? And if you lied to your mother and took a wedding ring and stole all her furniture and did all this stuff and you never apologized, that's the stuff we work on before you come home. You got to own your stuff.
Yeah.
You got to own it. If you don't own your stuff, it's going to show up. And that's why nobody wants you to come to the house when you get home. You know, a lot of men don't have a place to go.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that. How do guys find housing who don't have a place to go? I mean, how do you handle that situation?
That's what I'm working with right now. 3 guys are going to be put out early. I told them they were going to come out. But because they're coming out early September, I have 3 guys coming out at the same time, same month, September. And I'm looking now for housing for them. So I'm really trying to find some private housing for them. Why? Because I really don't want them in a shelter. That's the work I'm looking to do.
Okay.
I do not want them in a shelter. And their family don't really want them to come home because they don't want to be involved with the parole officer. Because, you know what the parole officer will do.
Yeah.
Come whenever they want. And, you know, you usually don't want that interruption.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a challenge. So they created that monster. So I let them know, this is what you created. There's no trust here. They don't know if you're really going to change. They don't know if you change or you're just trying to get home.
Yeah, exactly.
So I look at your record. I look at your record while you're in there. I look at what you've been doing while you're in there. Because you're in school. You don't have your GED? Get your GED while you're in there. You have your GED? Take a college course. You don't have a college course? You all need to get some college courses in here. I'll fight for stuff like that because I'm getting you ready to come home. Because if you don't have any discipline, you're not going to have any when you come home.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. And we're also now introducing stocks and bonds, trading.
Wow. That's new.
Oh, yeah. We're introducing trading. You can do that right on your cell phone. We're showing them how to do listen, if you were a kingpin, you were doing stuff on the street, you just got to turn it around legal.
Yeah.
You want to play with numbers? Go to the stock market. And work it that way.
Wow.
So we've got quite a few things because a lot of men are smart. I mean, these are hidden treasures, and we call it exile. Well, we reconcile kings in exile. That's our tagline. Yeah. We reconcile kings in exile.
I like that.
Oh yeah.
I like that. That's definitely. I applaud your work. Let me ask you this: a lot of people think that the school to prison pipeline is a hoax. Can you explain that it's not a hoax? Yeah, there's some people out here who believe that. They believe that, you just need a good education to get out of the hood and all that type of stuff.
The prisons, say that again. Wait a minute, I think I misunderstood you. Say that one more time because I can't believe that.
It's some people that believe that the school to prison pipeline is a hoax. And they feel as though that public school can give you an equal advantage like private, and it can help you get out of the hood, and you don't necessarily have to go into crime or drugs. You just need a good education.
Let me tell you what I know.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I know. They mark your children by neighborhoods.
Wow.
And they are busting that up here. That's on the floor right now. They are busting that up in New York. Because in New York City, even if your child has no record, a 5-year-old, I'm saying 5 years old, it could be younger. has no record of any problem. If there's a child in the house that's been a problem, your child's already marked. Not only is that child marked, but they are in a place, that's called, I'm going to find that. They are in a place where they have already built a prison and there's a cell already. Because it's a matter of time.
Wow. So he just wait.
It's a matter of time. Your neighborhood has everything to do with how you're marked. They don't do that in white neighborhoods for sure. But they do that in black neighborhoods, and they have marked these children. Even if you have a cousin, they know who you're related to, and you don't even have to be in the same house. You could be in a neighborhood, you could be in a family. You're trying to raise your children different.
Yeah.
And your sister's children were raised a little different. But because they're related and because they know each other and the people they go to school with, that's all. Listen, that thing has been a big deal in Brooklyn, New York, in New York City. I've been following that.
Yeah.
That's been really crazy. That prison, that school pipeline, they have already marked it out. That's why people started getting their kids out and putting them in private schools. Because they didn't want their kids to be marked. But you know, they don't have records on them, but they're in the system, and they won't. The fight. Here's the fight. Here's what's on the table. They don't even have to show the list. That's what the fight is about.
Wow,
they don't have to show the list, but you could believe somebody you know in Bed-Stuy, somebody you know in the Bronx, somebody you know in Manhattan, somewhere around in those communities, they're already marked.
That's crazy. Let me ask you this. How does special ed, because I was in special ed, and they said that a lot of times kids that are in special ed, they are the ones that go to jail.
Well, listen, I could say this. I want to say forgotten children or children that don't have support. The mother who don't go to the school and say, wait a minute, I don't like this grade he got. I helped him with his homework. I don't like this or I don't like that. The parent who is not aware of what's going on in their child's school or come to the meetings or get involved, you could believe they're the ones that's marked.
Okay.
In another way, because they become classified.
Yeah.
They become classified. Why? Because they're not in their norm. Some of our children are great hands-on learners. And you already know that they don't give our children in our public schools the education that they give in other schools. That's why parents want to bus their kids in other schools or drive them all the way to another school. Because it's not the same opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not available.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's real. That's real. I mean, but look at this. I look at this whole COVID thing and I'm like, wow, they kicked God out of school. Now God just kicked all of them out of school. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Now
you gonna kick me out? I'm gonna kick all of y'all out.
Yeah. And they fighting to try to get them back.
Yeah, and they want to fund. They know who's going to get lost in the sauce, but that's why they have these hot spots. If you're in a neighborhood, if you're in a community, every community should have hot spots. People should be getting free internet all over the place.
Yeah.
So don't be paying for internet if you got kids, because it's free. Do you know that?
They kept it hidden. You had to actually. I mean, it wasn't like they was broadcasting.
They're not going to broadcast it because they figure like most parents have it, but most parents don't. How about this? If your child don't have a laptop, you need to let people know that they don't have a laptop. Get a free laptop. There's people giving out free laptops.
Wow.
But see, if you don't know what's in your community, you won't even inquire. You'll suffer.
Yeah.
And so will your children.
Yeah.
But they have to give you internet because you have to be able to do your homework. So you need to look into that. Everybody needs to look into that in these communities that are not as fortunate as these great Bergen County communities.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to make sure your child has what they need. And you must get new laptops because we're going to go into this for a year and a half. And if your laptop goes down, it's not going to handle the bandwidth coming in. It's not going to be able to manage all of the 5G and all that coming in. So you don't want any problems with your laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll eventually have them go up so sky high, you'll be trying to find one.
Yeah, it's hard to get one now. I just bought one the other day for my son. He's going into college and went to Best Buy. Oh, yeah, that's sold out, that's sold out, that's sold out. I'm like, what do y'all have? I mean, even the Chromebooks sold out.
Well, you know, go on QVC and do the payments for the payment so you don't have to spend all that money at once.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Coach Toni, do you work with like the local government, like the council people and everything like that? How does your work, how does your working relationship work with those people? Because I mean, they're the ones that's, you know, in the community, they're putting, you know, local laws on the books. How do you work with them?
Yes, well, I just relocated. I was in Brooklyn. And my office is still in Brooklyn, but I personally relocated away from Brooklyn because of the COVID.
Okay.
I was taking care of my sister who wasn't well. However, I ended up moving out, but I worked very close with the councilman and the borough president and the people in my community. I was a community person. I was at any event, every event, board meetings, all of that. It's necessary. Because you have to be invested in your project. Whatever your project is, you have to have an investment in it. And you want to make sure that you get what's offered. It's all the money is at level. The money is not at the president and governor. You know, it's in the level with the community. Whatever community you're in, you need to be involved in that community because that's where the money's coming from. I remember when I first opened up last year, I walked into the councilman Robert Carnegie's office, and I was new, and I had just gotten my office around the corner, and I work with the children of incarcerated parents. I work with the Children of Promise. That's in Brooklyn, New York as well. So my office is in this building. Those are the children that have parents in prison, and so I deal with their fathers, uncles, or brothers when they come home. But when I walked into Mr. Carnegie's office, and I let them know that I'm in the community and I have a reentry project, this is what I'm doing, and they said, "Oh, you're in our community. We've got a grant for you." And that's how that started.
Wow.
That's right. Because you're making the community better. Wherever you are, you need to let people know that you're there. No one knows that you're there. When wives come home, we go to Target, we go to Walmart, we get them stuff for their new place, and we help them we work with the individual. There's no cookie cutter process for our men. They're all different.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because a lot of times people try to cookie cut and it's like, nah, everybody's different. Everybody, you know, has a different background. So can you tell us, I want to go back to the whole thing with the families. How does your work help, you know, with children? You know, how, you know, you've been gone for X amount of years. How is it that you can start really navigating into having a relationship back with the child that hasn't seen your face in a while?
Well, as I said, I work with Children of Promise, and it's a large organization. You look them up online, Children of Promise NYC. They work with Meek Mill. They work with all these different artists, people, and Brooklyn Nets, and everybody. They make sure they have psychologists. They deal with the children. We have psychologists that deal with the men. When you're talking about family integration, the psychological effect on the children is huge. And what they do is they provide, Children of Promise provides the psychological opportunities for these children in their after-school program. Everyone there is in the same boat. And they have the counselors, they have the psychologists, and they have the doctors. And they deal with them on the level that they need being dealt with.
Okay.
Because if somebody was, it depends on what the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
But we deal with them on that level. So those professionals handle that.
Okay.
And for me, I have access to psychologists
mm-hmm.
who deal with if they have other issues beyond and some psychological issues. I refer them to them.
Okay.
So we coach them.
Okay.
But if they need to, if something happened between them and the child, that's a whole other story. So these are relationships that can be put together based on both parents coming
mm-hmm.
together.
Okay. Okay.
So we work with that, but they work with it on another level. Every level has a different profession.
Okay.
And the professionals will handle that. And those are psychologists. And Dr. Anna, she is amazing. She works with the Children of Promise. And so as I would need her for any of the men to deal with something in particular pertaining to the child,
mm-hmm.
then I would refer them to Dr. Anna, and Dr. Anna would put someone with them and the child, and that's how it's worked out.
Okay. Thank
because
you.
It's not a one-size-shoe-fits-all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask you this. What about grief counseling? Because say like if a guy's been in prison and now, he finds out that he done lost his mother, he done lost, both parents or lost his grandmother. How do you help him, get through that?
Well, I have some guys right now who's lost, you're in there for a certain amount of time. You're going to lose somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I deal with that on different levels, but one of the levels is that where did it leave off?
Mm-hmm.
What was your process when that person was transitioned out of the earth? Where were you
mm-hmm.
at with that person in relationship?
Yeah.
And we work that backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's one of my guys I'm so proud of him because he's such a man.
Mm-hmm.
That changed his entire life when he lost his mother. The day his mother passed away, he had a job interview. You know what he did? He went to the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to the interview, swole, just real, filled. And he knew he couldn't do anything about it, but he was going to go to the interview. And the guy told him, wow.
Mm-hmm.
He got the job. He said, you can go back and be with your family. He said, but wow,
mm-hmm.
what a man of integrity. He got the job because of that. Now he's supervisor for the city. He does, he works on the train tracks.
Wow.
Yeah, and now, and that's been 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. And
he's doing extremely well. Now he has a cleaning company. And he still works for the city.
Wow.
But he has a cleaning company.
Wow.
Yeah. I wouldn't, nothing I wouldn't do for him.
Yes.
I have another one who's now doing real estate, and he also he's training anybody, me and my guys, if they want to do auctions for cars. Mm-hmm. He has a real estate license now. He's been out for 4 years. He has his real estate license now, and he buys cars on auction.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
These are people, these are kings coming
mm-hmm.
into their own,
yeah.
Their own light, their own passion,
mm-hmm.
and all of that. I'm excited. I get excited when I talk about them because I realize that, there's growing pains, but somebody's got to be there at 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's got to be there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
There's no office hours for them.
Yeah.
They have access to me 24/7.
Wow, that's
and
good.
They have access to their coach
mm-hmm.
24/7. That's the agreement I made with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you this. Wow, you transform men's lives, and so let me ask you this: what is the approach that you take when you're dealing with them and you're showing them, hey, this is what you need to do? Do you take off the gloves? Or you you straight talk to them, real, no filter, straight, no chaser?
You wouldn't even like my language. You wouldn't even like my language. I deal with a guy who was, strict murder, just and didn't care.
Yeah.
And he was, and it's like, I said to him, I made a mistake, and I said, I told I told this guy to do so-and-so, and he did just the opposite. And then when I called him out on it, he said something to me. He said, what did he say? He said, don't let me zip him up. I said, okay, wait a minute. Now we got to work with you. Because his mentality, see, it's my protector. You know what? They're all kinds and sizes, and they got lives that never mattered. He's the one who told me that when he was young, his father, whenever they had a toothache, his father would put cocaine on their gums. And he grew up in the life and he never had a dream. If you ask them, I always ask them, what were some of your dreams that you might have let sleep?
Yeah.
And you go, I don't know. And I'm like, you had to have some sort of dream. And he couldn't find one.
Wow.
So we went to work on a book. And he's writing his book. And he's working on that. And he wants to do a short film, a short with that. And so we're working on that. He's doing all the work. I'm just supporting him and sending him people to support him in this book thing. Because he's painting, he's got to empty out in order to find the dream. Because there always was a dream.
Yeah.
But he can't find it. So we're digging it out. So different things that he's looking at and looking to examine again reveals things that he forgot. Because he spent 42 years in prison.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he spent 32 years in prison.
Wow. That's a lot of time.
He spent 32 years in prison.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to take a while to unpack that. That's a lot.
But you know what? Writing is cathartic. You have to. You have to get it out in order to find it. Yeah. And that's what he's doing. But he's doing so well. He's been out 2 years. He's doing really, really good. And he's helping other gangs. He's the one who got me involved in these different organizations. And we do our Zoom meetings, and we're infiltrating groups that want to talk.
Yeah.
They want to talk.
That's
and
great.
It's a safe space so it doesn't get out. It doesn't get out. But they are actually moving and doing the work. But you know what? I tell them all, you won't see any change unless you do the work.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to do the work. No matter what your family did, no matter what your mother did, no matter what was going on, they did the best that they knew at that moment. But the thing is, they got you here. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
And the hardest thing is locating what they want and to articulate it. If there's no aim, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what we tell them.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because it's a difference between being a shotgun and being a sharpshooter. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely that. So let me ask you this. Let's talk about substance abuse. How do you help guys find, counseling or treatment trying to get past substance abuse?
Well, I have a friend who owns a couple of clinics. And I'm a licensed substance abuse counselor. I did that for a long time. I did most of my training in that. And what I realized when my last place that I worked with substance abuse was in a detox center with the rich people. When I came out because I realized they don't get the same treatment we get. That kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
They bring their kids and their wives. A lot of these professional men bring their wives because they're addicted. And they bring them at 7 in the morning and they pick them up at 7 at night so the neighbors don't know what's going on.
Wow.
And they pay big money for that. My friend is completely rich. They pay big money for that. And he has doctors in there. He just owns the practice, but he hires the doctors. And my point with that is when I realized that the treatment is different, and I realized that this is real, I have you refer them to professionals. The men that I deal with aren't dealing with addiction at this moment. We straightened that out.
Okay.
We've already straightened that out. This is where you need to go. It's referrals. you always want to find the professional, and I always look for black or brown.
Okay.
I really do.
That's
it's
good.
important for me because you've got to understand where they're coming from. Because what you're asking them is a lot of questions for your data. And our guys are not data. I don't even let my kings speak on platforms without getting paid. Because they'll rape you of your stories.
Yeah.
And then take the data and get the organizations and leave you out. They leave you out.
Yeah.
Because I did research, because I was doing the connecting of resources. That was one of my plans, to connect the resources first, to see what's out there. Oh, you have this organization, that organization, and da-da-da-da-da. And then when I asked them, did you call? Yeah. Well, I went. They told me to come back the following Monday. I came on a Friday. They said they didn't have any appointments, but if you can make it there by 4, okay, if they don't make it there by 4, then you got to come back on Monday. Where are the free Metro cards? Did they give you a Metro card? No, I had to come out of my own pocket. You don't have any money. It's just a setup. And when you get into these organizations that have or have opportunities for you to either get clean or deal with your substance, your group meetings, because we have the meetings. I have group meetings I was having group meetings every Thursday. It was called the King's Court.
Yeah.
And they come in and they can talk about all of that stuff. I have the group meetings there. But as far as the treatments, if there was treatments, they have to go get their treatments. But I had group once a month because I had them from different places. So you're local, because everyone's not local in this organization. They're in different places.
Yeah.
So you go to your local, you find a meeting to go to, and you support the meeting, and you go and you share. Once a month you come here and bring some information back to the men that are here and share what you all learned. And that's how that worked out.
Wow.
So now we set up the Zoom meetings, and I did one for a couple of the underground people, and it worked out because it's confidential.
Okay, that's good. That's real good.
People need to know that they're in a safe space, and if you can't provide that for them, they're not coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So I want to say that, it's across, and some people are not in the program, they're just in the group. And some people have groups of their own, and they bring their people. So this is how you crossbreed across other organizations, and you get different people to come together and bring peace. So if you need, an intervention or a mediator, then they would ask me to come and mediate. Not mediate like I know what's going on, because I could bring some of my guys who do know what's going on, and then they bring their people, but we talk it out.
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you this. I know you mainly deal with men. Do you also said earlier that you happen to deal with some women. How do how's the whole process when you're dealing with women? Is it the same or is it totally different?
Well, here's how I deal with the women, because I had to work in Clinton. I didn't work, but I had to. I did a coaching program in Clinton, New Jersey, and Annandale, and it's really funny. Not Annandale, but Clinton, and a couple of places where women were. But here's the thing: that's not my passion. That's not my niche. And so here's what I do with women now. I deal with the women of these men. And I let them know how you need to handle this man when he comes home.
Okay.
Because if you don't, he's gonna get an excuse for why he can't make it. He's gonna find a way to be depressed. He's gonna find a way to feel that he's not either good enough or he doesn't know how to handle what you want, or the pressure that you've been under. Now you want to transfer it to him because he's home. I deal with the mother who wants to cook him dinner every day and give him everything. No, you can't do that. I deal with the girlfriend who's like, she wants him to treat her like she's the wife, but she's just a girl friend.
Yeah.
So you got to work with those mentalities because they become a real challenge for the man who is trying to figure out, how am I going to live because the party's over? Once they realize, why am I celebrating him and he was in prison? They come to themselves and start going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, you need to get a job, Negro.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation. And when there's children involved, then now, why's Daddy in the room?
Yeah.
So he's used to the cell. Why does he like to take a walk at night? Why does he need to walk? Why does he need to, there's so many different things that they won't know. Because he's not going to be the same man that he was when he left.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tell the guys, who do you have to become? Who did you have to become to survive 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years? Who did you have to become? Because that's not who we're looking at.
Yeah.
We're looking at somebody else. Who are you?
Yeah.
And they got to take it all off.
Is that hard?
And they got to start over.
Is that hard?
Is it hard?
Yeah.
Show me hard.
Wow. You actually.
It's not hard. It's not hard. It's a challenge.
Oh, it's a challenge. Okay, I'll say it like that.
You got to be up for the challenge. It's not hard because it's your life.
Okay.
So it's a challenge, and only you know you. But the thing is, there has to be someone in your face telling you, that's not real. Yeah, I'm not a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I'm not a cheerleader. That's not who I am. I'm a kingmaker.
Yeah.
I'm going to confront you and tell you, you're selfish. Why are you selfish? I told one of my guys the other day, he was working a little harder and he made a little extra money, and his mother's the one who opened the house up to him. He's been home for about 5 years. And I said, first of all, I got him hooked up to an organization called NACA. NACA will help you get a house, and you don't even have to have a down payment. So write that down for yourself if you want to get another house. So here's the thing. So I was telling him about that. So he's working on that and in his business. And so I said to him, first of all, I told him a couple of months ago, start taking your mother out once a week. She don't have a man in her life.
Yeah.
Take her out once a week. Get her nails done. Do for her. She's been waiting for you for 17 years while you was inside, and you got the money? He says, I do stuff for her. I said, no, you got to make this intentional. If you got a raise, she should see it.
Yeah.
And this is aside from any bills. Take your mother out. Do something for her. And so he's like, yeah. So he started doing that. So one Saturday, which was last week, he said, she didn't feel like going out. I said, fine. Hand her $100 and say, go get your, whenever you're ready, go get your nails and your nails and your feet done. She don't have to go out if she don't want to. That's an option.
Yeah.
Because that's time you spend with her and you talk. But if she don't want to go that week, that's fine because he didn't know how to handle that. So I said, listen, it's just she just want to do something else.
Yeah.
And so he's learning how. He doesn't have a woman in his life at this moment, and he's learning how to treat his mother in a way. I said, so you'll learn practice.
Yeah.
So when your wife come along, you know how to hand her money, get her nails and feet done.
That's
and take her out.
That's good.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, that's definitely good. So let me ask you this. You have guys, they've been with you for a while. Does there ever come a point in time where they are able to get their record expunged, and how does that work?
Oh yeah, we do that too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, we do that too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's easy. That's not hard. It's just it's time consuming, but you have to have the right people in the right county.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to go where your county is, where your the stuff is, and then you just work it out. So when I was in Brooklyn, that stuff I could do. It's just different counties, Bronx, and it's just just different areas. You just have to work wherever you are, Jersey, New Brunswick, Somerset, Newark.
Okay.
Anywhere you are, you have to work with that.
Okay. So you basically work Jersey and New York.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna we get ready to tone it down a little bit. What's the most rewarding thing that you come across in doing what you do and transforming men's lives?
It's when they realize that they are a king,
mm-hmm.
and they have something to offer.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're somebody. And you were not somebody because you're doing something. You're somebody because you were born somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you do is not necessarily who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do for a living. That's what you do. But that's not who you are. Once you find out who you are, you can articulate, I'm a man
mm-hmm.
that loves my family. I love my, you get to articulate who you are. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't take people's labels, they take all the labels off that someone else gave them, and they label them.
Yeah, that's definitely rewarding because it's freedom. It's freedom.
Yeah, and they don't need me.
Mm-hmm.
They need to hear. They need to hear themselves, and I'll echo them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just say this, or that? And I go, yeah. Well, what does that mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
Because people really don't take your conversation. If you ask somebody how you doing today, and before you can even tell them how you're doing, they moved on to another subject because it really wasn't what they cared about. They just
mm-hmm.
wanted to say something.
Yeah.
So we try to work with talking and speak. Speak, don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So Coach, tell us, how can people get a hold of you? Who need your assistance, who need your help, and also how can people also donate to your organizations and the organizations that you're connected with?
Wow. Well, you can just go to reentry-kingmaker.com and you'll find the blurb on our website about a little bit about what we do. We don't put it all on the website
mm-hmm.
because we don't wait for the government to give us funds. We have people who privately invest.
Okay.
So that's because if you wait for the government, you might be waiting and people are dying.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're doing is we're available to connect with us, and we'll connect back with you and find out what it is you're looking for.
Okay.
Because there are resources out here. What we do, if we don't have it, we'll call another organization and say, listen, I have a man here who is looking for X, Y, and Z. Can he come in to see you? Well, who is this? The Reentry Kingmaker. Okay, so who are you? And we tell them who we are. And then we try to find out who are you. And
mm-hmm.
I want to know, if you're getting millions of dollars in government money, then I got somebody that you need to help. And I don't play with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting him down there, and you just look for him.
Okay.
Because he's not going to be in the group with the bunch. He's not going to be in the herd. He's
mm-hmm.
coming as a reference from us.
Yes.
So therefore, you need to see him. He needs an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Not a herd call, not a cattle call.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a difference. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, Coach, I just want to say thank you because you transform men's lives. You help them, see a different view of themselves. You show them purpose. And I just want to say thank you because, healing is definitely needed in our community. And I was telling the listeners that, it starts with our men. We got to get our men back in a home because our men represents that generational tree. If you don't have the seed, you don't have the tree. So I just want to say thank you, and I honor you for your work and your service to the community. And I just want to say I appreciate you. That's the God knows truth, because we need more people like you, because you are the type of person that is unsung. You know what I mean? And we need to know, about these different types of programs and people that are there to help, but you hardly ever hear it on the news.
Oh, well, I want to thank you for inviting me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pleasure. And to all the listeners, you start in your community. You start with the people you love the most. Start with your brother. Start with your father. Instead of calling him Junebug and Stinker, call him King.
Yeah.
Call him Young Prince. All my nephews have names. I have Young Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
I have Young Prince. I have Mr. Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
All my nephews are named. And if you ask them what is their name, they start laughing. And now it grew on them because one of them called the other, my sister called the other one a different name. And she said, no, I'm Young Prince. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, start looking at them differently and they'll show up differently.
Yes, that's definitely, call them what you want them to, what you want to see. I like that. I like that. So Coach, can you give us some words of wisdom? Yes, some words of wisdom and encouragement.
Yeah. The plan is that you rise up. The snare is that you don't.
Okay.
And the wisdom is that you become all that you could possibly be without apologies.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought for today.
I like that. That's definitely some wisdom right there. So again, could you tell us how can we get a hold of you? How can we get in contact? And also, I'm believing God that there's going to be a special donor that's going to donate to your cause and donate to your organization. So how can people get a hold of you and also make donations?
Yes, we're tax deductible. We're 501c3 at reentrykingmaker.com.
Okay.
reentrykingmaker.com.
All right. So, Coach, I just want to say thank you. We definitely got to have this conversation again. And so I just want to say thank you. We are going to definitely upload this. You're going to be able to hear it on iTunes and Spotify. So,
and I have some guys, too. I have some guys for you to bring on and let them tell you about the journey.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, if you want, we can hook up something and you can come on with your guys and they can tell, their journey. They can also tell, their dealings with you as well and how you challenge them to
yeah.
So it'd definitely be interesting. Like, yo, man, was she real tough? Oh man, yo, let me tell you.
Oh my.
So I'm gonna just put it out there. When we have that conversation, let me just say this. I cuss on my show, so I'm gonna let you know that now. So we can have this conversation. It doesn't have to be filtered. It can just be natural and flow.
Okay, good.
All right.
My guys know how to act. These kings know how to act when they get out.
Okay.
But they're rough with me too, and I'm rough with them. But Thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch.
All right, then. You have a blessed one. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. That was transformation specialist Toni, and you guys get involved. Go to entrykingmaker.com, make a donation, because I'm telling you, we need our men to see themselves as kings, because when you conduct yourself as a king, you're not going to settle for being a pauper. And with that being said,